Shabbat Shalom, Hebrew Israelite family. Glory and honor to the Father Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and to Messiah, Yahweh Shah, the high priest and the prophet of all prophets, and soon King of Kings, returning to planet Earth. Glory and honor to Father Yahweh, and to Messiah Yahweh Shah, and to the awakening 12 tribes of the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed to Yahshua. Greetings also to the precious souls that have escaped the wrath of Yah from the Gentiles, coming into this truth of who the true Hebrews are, of the line of the tribe of Judah, and the truth of the Father Yah. Greetings to you. Greetings also to Sister Josie M. Oh, Sister Josie, you had a different name today. Okay, Sister Josie M. And Brother D. Princeton. Prince Bun, that's Arkawan Banya, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's Gary Joseph. Welcome back as Superstar, Ricky Boyd, Yafi, Delivery Boy, Pregizmo, Brother Baldy, Love Blue, Sister Love Blue, Brandon Beckman, Brother Strickland, Stephen Kelly. Greetings to all of you. I don't know why I'm seeing all of the names differently today. I think I was been messing with my settings, and I think I messed with them. Sister Jillian, greetings to all of you. Well, you know what it is? I think I changed my settings. I was playing with my settings today, and I think it affected how I'm seeing everybody's name. So excuse me if I'm looking at your name differently than I normally see. Yeah, I messed with my settings today. Was trying to play with stuff on YouTube, and I think I might have messed something up. At least I can see y'all. Sometimes I mess with the settings and can't see anything, so I'm glad I see you. Praise the Most High. We're going to continue. We're going to continue to look at our study in Deuteronomy. Now, the last time we studied Deuteronomy, we spent a lot of time talking about the prophetic meanings of the three feasts of the Hebrew Israelites. So the Hebrew Israelites were given three feasts, and we talked about the prophetic meanings of those. Now, today, we're going to go right into Deuteronomy 16. And of course, by the time we get to the Feast of Tabernacles, we must needs go back to the book of Revelation, of course. So we're going to do that as we go through the Deuteronomy 16. So let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 16 and begin where we left off. So we did Leviticus 23 the last time, looking at Leviticus 23, our last Bible study. And because Leviticus 23 also goes into the three feasts, the three prophetic feasts that were actual feasts for the children of Israel. And so we did that, and it says it slightly differently in Leviticus, in the book called Yahweh called Moses, that one, which is also Leviticus. It says a little bit differently than it does in Deuteronomy 16, and we'll look at that today, specifically in a specific place. The thing is, brethren, there is always a lot of talk about what people should do in terms of, like, I've heard talk of people saying, we as Christians should do this. We're not Christians. We as Hebrew Israelites should do this. We who are Black people should do this. And there's always this thing about what people should do. The Bible shows us a couple of things. Number one, as we're going to look at tonight, the time of the Gentiles as prophetically spoken by the Messiah and others is fulfilled. The return of the Messiah is very soon. So what should we be doing? Preparing in spirit and in mind to meet the Messiah. That's what we should be doing. Seeking the Spirit of the Father and His Word, that we might give Him honor and glory through obedience. That's what we should be doing. Okay? Wherever we are, that's what we should be doing. And so, as we're going to see again, as we look at the prophetic meanings of the feast in Deuteronomy 16, we're going to see again what we should be doing is preparing to meet Messiah, preparing even before that to receive the seal of the Father's Spirit through Messiah, so that we would be able to stand when the Messiah is shown again, when he returns. Praise the Most High. When every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. We should be prepared to meet him. Praise the Most High. When they'll be yelling to the stones and to the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. See, this time there'll be no further delay. There'll be no further delay. So we're coming to the end of the Babylonian system that rules the earth right now. We're coming to the end of Asatan's domination over the earth and over Yah's chosen people. In fact, let's take a look at one thing before we get into Deuteronomy 16. And this is Daniel chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12, where the Messiah speaks in Daniel 12. So in Daniel 10, 11, and 12, mostly it's Gabriel that is speaking to Daniel. And Gabriel has been given a message from the Messiah to share with Daniel about the end of the Gentile rule and the beginning of the Israelite rule. And during the course of that discussion, where Gabriel is explaining to Daniel future events, Daniel asks a question. And then Messiah himself answers. So this is Daniel chapter 12. I'm going to begin, let's see, at verse. I'm going to start at verse 1, and I'm going to go down from verse 1, and I'm going to go down from verse 1 down to verse 7. This is Daniel chapter 12, from verse 1 to verse 7. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. Notice the tense. He said, because this is Gabriel talking to Daniel. So Gabriel says, and at that time, what time? The time that's mentioned in Daniel 11, 44 and 45. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Again, Gabriel is talking to Daniel about the children of Daniel's people. Gabriel is talking to Daniel about the children of Daniel's people. So you must understand who are Daniel's people. Daniel came from the tribe of Judah, of the 12 tribes of Israel. So the children of the Israelites of Daniel's people are going to be the ones that are alive in the last time, which is where we are and who we are. So the Bible says there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, and that at that time we, Daniel, the children of Daniel's people, shall be delivered, all of us that are written in the book. And of course, that is the book of life. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Verse 2, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Of course, we know this is the first resurrection, of which my daddy is coming and Brother Castle King's mama is coming. So we say, some that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. And we praise the Most High for the promise of resurrection Verse 3, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So Daniel is being told, close this book. It will not be revealed until the time of the end. Guess where we are? The time of the end. As the sixth trumpet of Revelation showed us, the little book in the angel's hand that stood on the sea and on the earth, John was told, take the little book and eat it. It shall be sweet in thy mouth and bitter in thy belly, and thou must prophesy again before many nations and kindreds and tongues and people. That's us. That's the 144,000. That's where we are right now, being prepared. What should we be doing? Being prepared to receive the power of the Father's Spirit, being fed by his word, and trusting only in the Father and his word, so that he will have us ready to stand the time that Gabriel's telling Daniel right now. Okay, here, Daniel chapter 12, verse 5. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, that's Messiah, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half, that when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. So he raised his right hand and his left hand. He said, when he, that is our enemy, shall have accomplished, in other words, finished, to scatter the power of the holy people, that is Yah's chosen tribes of Israel. We are now a scattered nation. When that scattering is finished, all of these things shall be finished. And let's compare that to Revelation chapter 10, where the same thing happens, because it's like bookends. It's almost like the start of it and the end of it. Revelation chapter 10, beginning at verse 1. Revelation chapter 10, beginning at verse 1. It's the same thing. Daniel saw it in the beginning. John saw it at the end. Daniel 10, beginning at verse 1. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea and his left foot upon the earth, and cried with a loud voice as when a lion roareth. When he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of Yahweh should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. See, the mystery is the return of Messiah. So it should be accomplished at the blowing of the 7th trumpet. When the 4th seal is complete and the 2 witnesses are brought forth, and the 2 witnesses are attacked, and the 2 witnesses apparently are stopped, then comes the 7th seal. And then comes the end. Okay, so Daniel and John are looking at the same thing. John is looking at it at the end where we live. Daniel saw it in the beginning. And here we are. Here we are. Okay, here we are. Praise the Most High. So the prophetic utterance of these feasts point to these things that we just read, as we're going to see now. So let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 16. Deuteronomy chapter 16. Praise the Most High for the holiness, for the prophetic utterance of his word. There is no other word given on planet Earth that has the prophetic power of the Bible. There is none. There is no other people on planet Earth, as the word shows us, that have been given the prophetic utterance, but to servants of Yah. So there's only one group of people that are actually going to know what's happening and why. It's us. And the only reason we will know is the Father is revealing it to us by the power of the Holy Spirit in his word. That's why. Praise the Most High. And anyone else that wants to know can find out if they come to us. And we're not going to be out begging people to come to us. The Spirit of the Most High knows them that are his. That's what 2 Timothy says. Yahweh knows them that are his. Whoever shall depart from iniquity, whoever names the name of Messiah should depart from iniquity. Those are the people that are his. Those that are seeking to glorify the Father by departing from iniquity. Those that, as Sister Gomez was doing, been put aside to read his word and pray to him and trust in his promises, those are the ones that will know. Praise the Most High. Those are the ones that will know. Praise the Most High. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 16, beginning at verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 16, beginning at verse 1. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto Yahweh thy Most High. For in the month of Abib, Yahweh thy Most High brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto Yahweh thy Most High of the flock and of the herd in the place which Yahweh shall choose to place his name there. Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction. For thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coast 7 days, neither shall there anything of the flesh which thou sacrificest the first day at even remain all night until the morning. So they were told the month of Abib, which is the first month of the Hebrew year. It is the first month of the spring, the month of Abib, the first month of the spring, and the 15th day of the month. And we don't have any leaven because it's the unleavened bread, he said, is the bread of affliction, which is what? The bread of repentance and trusting the mercy of the Father. Because of them trusting the Father, they were in those houses with the lamb's blood over their doorposts, which the destroying angel passed over them. So the blood of the lamb is still with us who are afflicted and not eating leavened bread during this time. The blood of the lamb, which is giving us grace. We receive grace through the blood of the lamb. We receive grace and mercy through the blood of the lamb. Okay, praise the Most High. And they couldn't just sacrifice it any place they felt like it. He said, in the place which Yahweh shall choose. to place his name there, in the place that he shall choose to place his name there. That was Jerusalem that he chose to place his name there. Our fathers sinned against him by following other gods, so he left there. But then Messiah made his appearance. Messiah was put to death and resurrected and stands with the Father at the right hand in the most holy place of the heavenly sanctuary. That's where the Father is. When New Jerusalem comes down, the Bible says the tabernacle of Yah is with men. Let's take a look at that. That's Revelation chapter 21. Revelation chapter 21. Again, I told you we're going to be hitting Revelation a little bit today because we're getting into these feasts. Revelation chapter 21. I'm going to begin at verse 1 and read from verse 1 down to verse 3. This is Revelation chapter 21 from 1 to 3. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, watch, behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men. See, when he says his tabernacle, this is his house. That's where he dwells. And so he's saying this is where he is. Can we now say that's where he has put his name? That he has put his name there? He said, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahweh himself shall be with them and be their most high. Yes. So he's putting his name in the New Jerusalem, and that's where we're going to keep the Passover. Praise the Most High. Okay. So we keep it now, right? We observe or understand that what time it is, but we understand that the real keeping of it is when we're no longer scattered. Like the Messiah said, when the seventh angel sound, he shall have accomplished. When the time, 3.5 year period that they have set, when that is accomplished, they will have finished the scattering of the holy people. Praise the Most High. So we will be gathered together on the sea of glass at the New Jerusalem with the Heavenly Father, and he will dwell with us forever. Yes, it's almost over. 7 years left before it's over. Praise the Most High. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 16. Deuteronomy 16. Going to go from verse 5. Let's read. We just finished at verse 4. We're going to start at verse 5, and we're going to go from verse 5 down to verse 9. This is Deuteronomy chapter 16, from verse 5 to verse 9. Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which Yahweh thy Most High giveth thee, but at the place which Yahweh thy Most High shall choose to place his name in, there thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt. And thou shalt roast and eat it in the place which Yahweh thy Most High shall choose. Thou shalt turn in the morning and go into thy tents. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread. And on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahweh thy Most High. Thou shalt do no work therein. 7 weeks thou number unto thee. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as thou beginnest to put the sickle to the corn. Now, it's very unclear, right? When do you put the sickle to the corn, right? That's what he said. You start to number the 7 weeks at the time you put the sickle to the corn. But it never says, when do you begin to put the sickle to the corn? This is where you bring two scriptures together. That's why we looked at Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23. Let's take a look. Leviticus 23. So when do you start to count the 7 weeks? Leviticus 23 tells us. And it also will answer in telling us, when do you begin to put the sickle to the corn? This is for the barley harvest. The first harvest of the Hebrew season was the barley harvest. So they were looking at that. So now Leviticus chapter 23, beginning at verse 6. Leviticus 23, beginning at verse 6. I'm going to read from verse 6 down to verse, let's see. Let me start at verse 6 and read down to verse 11. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahweh. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread, which is what we just read in Deuteronomy. In the first year ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. And ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh 7 days. In the seventh day is an holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, watch this, speak unto the children of Israel, say unto them, when ye come into the land which I give you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest, and ye shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. Now we know when they begin to put the sickle to the corn. It is the Sunday after the Shabbat of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So the Feast of Unleavened Bread has a Shabbat on the 14th day, and it has a Shabbat on the 7 days later, on the 22nd day. And in between that, there's a 7th day Shabbat. Okay. And when you have that 7th day Shabbat, the next day is the first day of the week. And that's when they begin to put the sickle to the corn. And that's when they offer the wave offering. Does that make sense, everybody? Everybody got that? This is where you look at a couple of scriptures that relate to what you're looking at. And you find from looking at putting them together how they relate. So when is the first, when do they begin to count the 7 weeks? They put the sickle to the corn on the first day after the Shabbat of the week of the Passover. So you have that Sunday. Now, of course, it makes perfect sense because the Messiah was resurrected Saturday night, which we would call Sunday, at 3 a.m. So that next day, the priest is going to have a wave offering representing the first fruits of the barley harvest. And we know that there were people resurrected after the Messiah was resurrected, which came into the holy city and showed themselves to many, right? So that is the first fruits of the harvest. Okay. The early rain came 40 days later, or should I say 50 days later? Sorry. 50 days later came the early rain. Praise the Most High. So we know now that when it's talking about when thou put the sickle to the corn, he's talking about the Sunday after that first Shabbat, or that Shabbat that comes in the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That Sunday is the wave offering, the offering of the first fruits of the early rain or the early harvest. Praise the Most High. Okay, back to Deuteronomy now, chapter 9. Back to Deuteronomy chapter 9. Going to begin at chapter 16. Deuteronomy chapter 16, beginning at verse 9. Deuteronomy 16, beginning at verse 9. Going to read from verse 9 down to verse 11. 7 weeks shalt thou number unto thee. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as thou beginnest to put the sickle to the corn. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto Yahweh thy Most High with a tribute of a free will offering of thy hand, which thou shalt give unto Yahweh thy Most High, according as Yahweh thy Most High hath blessed thee. And thou shalt rejoice before Yahweh thy Most High, thou and thy son and thy daughter and thy manservant and thy maidservant and the Levite that is within thy gates and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow which are among you, in the place which Yahweh thy Most High hath chosen to place his name there. See? So again, It's party time. So when you get to the 50th day, everybody's going to have something. He's going to provide for the poor, the stranger, the fatherless, the widow, the Levite. Everybody brings their stuff to Jerusalem, and everybody is celebrating. He said, thou shalt rejoice. It's party time. Praise the Most High, right? Okay, that was Deuteronomy 16, verse 11. Beginning at verse 12. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe to do these statutes. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days after thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine. That's the latter rain. That's the end of the harvest. Okay? All right? And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant and thy maidservant and the Levite, the stranger and the fatherless and the widow that are within thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto Yahweh thy Most High in the place which Yahweh shall choose, because Yahweh thy Most High shall bless thee in all thy increase and in all the works of thy hands. Therefore, thou shalt surely rejoice. Verse 16, 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before Yahweh thy Most High in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles. And they shall not appear before Yahweh empty. Praise the Most High. 3 times a year, he names the 3 feasts. And then, of course, we know in the book of Deuteronomy, in between those 3 feasts, he named the Day of Atonement, the day where we afflict our souls before the Most High, in the 7th month, in the 10th day of the month. Praise the Most High. Yes, see, exactly. So the Most High has us all together. He has us celebrating together. And we're commemorating in the Feast of Unleavened Bread the deliverance from Egypt, the deliverance from bondage, the deliverance from slavery. Then we're rejoicing about the first fruits of the harvest, which is the first fruits of the Messiah's victory in the people that were resurrected with him. And then at the end of the year, we're celebrating the final harvest of the year. The final harvest. Praise the Most High. But we're not finished yet. Okay? Where were we? Oh, verse 16. So now we start in verse 17. Verse 17. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of Yahweh thy Most High, which he hath given thee. Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which Yahweh thy Most High giveth thee throughout thy tribes. And they shall judge the people with just judgment. Thou shalt not wrest judgment. Thou shalt not respect the persons, neither take a gift. For a gift does blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. The gift represents a bribe. That's what he's talking about. Don't take bribes. Today, in the United States, they have a legal system of bribery. Oh, yes. It's a legal system of bribery. Did you know that? That there's a legal system of bribery in the government of the United States. Yes, there is. What is it called? This legal system of bribery. What is it called when a corporation sends a representative to a senator's office promising him support if the senator promises to pass certain legislation? No, it's not called a donation. What is it called? You're called that. Thank you, the delivery boy, 347. It's called lobbyists. That's what a lobbyist is. Lobbyists come to Washington. Generally, a lobbyist is a paid attorney. They're generally attorneys. They don't have to be, but most times they are. They come to Washington on behalf of corporations. You know, I found out a very interesting fact from Bernie Sanders on Joe Rogan's podcast. Bernie Sanders broke, and Joe Rogan knew, because as Bernie was telling him, Joe Rogan was saying already what Bernie was going to say. Check this out. There are 3 Wall Street firms. One of them is called State Street. The other one is called, what's the other one called? I forgot. There's 3, okay, Wall Street firms that own 95% of all corporations, publicly traded corporations. 3 Wall Street firms own 95% of all stock in publicly traded corporations. 3. Yeah, BlackRock is one. That's right. State Street's another. I forgot who the other one was. Vanguard. I think it was Vanguard. That's right. Vanguard. It was Vanguard. It was BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. They own 95% of all publicly traded corporate stock. 95%. So wait, when you understand that, that means most of the corporate boards are controlled by 3 organizations. That means most of the politicians that are bought and sold through lobbyists are bought and sold on behalf of 3 organizations. And Joe Rogan said that's not good, and Bernie Sanders said that's power. That is power. And we know from the word of the Most High, having received the word of the Most High, we know that there is a power behind them. And then there's a power behind that. We know this. Okay? But exactly, Akawambanya, all power belongs to Yah. And what they're doing and what they own in this system that's about to be destroyed doesn't matter. That's right. The lamb-like beast that speaks like a dragon controls them. And the first beast with the 7 heads and 10 horns controls the lamb-like beast. And the dragon gives him his power, his seat, and great authority. And not only that, we know right now that the new pope is from the land of the lamb-like beast. Now, isn't that interesting? So the new pope is from the land of the lamb-like beast. The office of the President of the United States is the most powerful entity in the lamb-like beast. And it's now together. Brethren, if you don't know that we're at the end, you ought to know. You ought to know we're at the end. We are at the end. Okay, we are at the end. There's no doubt we are at the end. Okay. Okay, Deuteronomy 16. I do want to go back to Leviticus one more time, but after we read Deuteronomy 16, when we're finished here. This is Deuteronomy 16. So the gift that Moses is talking about here is talking about bribery. And in the government of the U.S., we have a legal, I'm not lying, it's a legal system of bribery. It's called lobbyists. Okay? See, that is why you could have somebody like a Boricua, right? Like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She comes from the Bronx. She was a bartender. She won a seat in Congress for her district in the Bronx. And that's why we know she's now going to be corrupted. Because not only she starts off getting 170 G's a year plus a personal staff, but there's lobbyists talking to her too. Who gonna say no to all that money? You can't dive in a cesspool and swim and not come out smelling like what's in the cesspool. You can't do it. I don't care who you are. Okay? This is it right here. Yes, right. Ricky Boy's right. This is it right here. The Most High is showing us this. Okay? Okay. Verse 20. That which is altogether just shalt thou follow. That thou mayest live and inherit the land which Yahweh thy Most High giveth thee. And thou shalt not plant thee a grove in any trees near unto the altar of Yahweh thy Most High, which thou shalt make thee. Neither shalt thou set thee up any image which Yahweh thy Most High hateth. So why does he hate images? Because people worship them, and they are false gods. And if you worship any man-made false gods, you are disrespecting the only true God, particularly if you're a Hebrew Israelite who is of the bloodline of these people that Moses is talking to. And that's part of our awakening. I call it an awakening. The Bible also calls it awaken. But the reason being is because while we were sleeping, we were worshiping other gods, as the Most High showed us in Ezekiel. We were blaspheming his name by worshiping other gods and calling on other gods, where we are the only people in the history of the planet that the Father has given his name to. We're the only people that he has actually verbally talked to as a nation. We're the only people that he has given his statutes, commandments, and judgments to. He did not give the 10 commandments to everybody. He gave them to us and only us. Praise the Most High. Through Leviticus chapter 23. Back to Leviticus chapter 23. And let's take a closer look at what we are about to experience in the Feast of Tabernacles. This is Deuteronomy chapter 23, beginning at verse 34. And this is where we go back to Revelation, and you already know where we're going. You all already know where we're going. You already know where we're going, right? So here we go. This is Leviticus chapter 23, beginning at verse 34. I'm going from verse 34 unto verse 44. Verse 33. Leviticus 23, verse 33 down to verse 44. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto Yahweh. On the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. These are the feasts of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day, beside the Sabbaths of Yahweh, beside your gifts, beside all your vows, beside all your free will offerings, ye shall give unto Yahweh. Also, in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Yahweh 7 days. On the first day shall be a Shabbat, and on the 8th day shall be a Shabbat. And ye shall take unto you the first day of the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before Yahweh your Most High 7 days. Ye shall keep it a feast unto Yahweh 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am Yahweh, your Most High. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feasts of Yahweh. Yes. Now, if you recall, we just read in Deuteronomy 16 that during this feast, the stranger going to partake, but all that are Israelites by blood will dwell in booths. Because when he delivered us from slavery, he wasn't trying to deliver Egyptians. He was trying to deliver the bloodline. Praise the Most High. And he's letting us know that. Praise the Most High. But wait a minute. Let's look at a couple of other references. First of all, we know the Revelation. You know where we're going, and you know why we're going. Let's take a look at the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 14. Revelation 14, beginning at verse 14. Revelation 14, beginning at verse 14, going down to verse 20. Revelation 14, from verse 14 to verse 20. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud. And upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. Sickle is usually for harvest. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of Yahweh. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and the blood came out of the winepress unto the horse bridles by the space of 1,600 furlongs. Oh, yes. The first reaping is of the wheat. The second one is of the tares. And of course, we have to go to Isaiah chapter 63, because Isaiah 63 shows this more. It gives you more detail of what we just read in Revelation chapter 14. And it tells you who it is, and it tells you who's doing both the wine press and who's doing who's getting pressed. Somebody's getting pressed. The blood was high. Somebody's blood is being spilt, and somebody's doing the pressing. Let's look at Isaiah 63, beginning at verse 1 down to verse 6. Isaiah 63 from 1 to 6. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine vat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. Wait. So there's a couple of groups here. There's a group of Edomites who's being stomped, and there's a group of redeemed who's being delivered. He says the year of my redeemed has come, and the Edomites are being stomped out, more specifically, Amalekites. Let's continue. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help. And I wondered, and there was none to oppose. Therefore, my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury, it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury. And I will bring down their strength to the earth. You think he's playing around? I don't think so. I don't think so. So we're going to be gathered with branches, the Feast of Tabernacles. There's a harvest of us, and there's a harvest of them. Yes, there is. We're going to be standing on the sea of glass. Let's look at Revelation chapter 15. Revelation 15. Beginning at verse 1 and going down from verse 1 down to verse 4. Revelation chapter 15, 1 to 4. Same situation. These are different facets of the same event. Revelation 15, 1 to 4. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of Yahweh. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Yahweh. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Yahweh Al Shaddai. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Yahweh, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7, without no delay and, and no chaser. Revelation chapter 7, beginning at verse 9. Revelation chapter 7, beginning at verse 9, going down to verse 17. Same event. Same event. Revelation chapter 7 from verse 9 to 17. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hand. In chapter 15, there is harps. In chapter 7, there are palms. The palms, of course, are representations of the Feast of Tabernacles. The harps are representations of the 144,000, which sing a song on their harps that only they can sing. No man could learn that song, but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. Praise the Most High. Revelation chapter 7, verse 10. And cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our Most High, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the elders, and the 4 beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped Yahweh, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our Most High forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? So he's not asking about the numberless multitude. There's a separate group that also have white robes. And he said, who are these with the white robes? Where did they come from? Verse 14. And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Great tribulation. Remember, there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation. And thy people shall be delivered. Everyone found written in the book. It's the 144,000. Of course it is. Yes. Praise the Most High. Therefore are they before the throne of Yahweh, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. And they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more. Neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters. And Yahweh shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Praise the Most High. We got some stuff to deal with, but obviously we come through it successfully according to the holy word of the Most High. Yes. So that was chapter 16 of Deuteronomy. Tomorrow, chapter 17. May the Most High bless you and keep you, and cause his face to shine upon you, and be gracious unto you. And may he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, Hebrew, Israelite family. Shalom.